Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
We've talked before about the edges of definitions in the law. So, for instance, can you get a ticket for, not using a hands-free phone while on horseback? Or can you be arrested for drunk driving in a golf cart? And so it depends on where you are, but some of these things are possible. Some of them are not possible. And some of them we're not even sure about because the courts haven't ruled on them. So Josh sent me a story, said, Steve, just see this funny story out of Oregon. The appeals court there has said that the conviction of a disabled Oregon woman who was chased by cops on her mobility scooter must be overturned. So, yes, she was on her mobility scooter. The police were chasing her on it in what we can only describe as a low-speed chase, and then they ticketed her for that and a variety of other things. And the Court of Appeals in Oregon has said, no, you can't do that, guys, and the conviction's been reversed. Noelle Crombie wrote the story for the Oregonian and Oregon Live. Faced with the case of a disabled woman chased by police while on her mobility scooter, the Court of Appeals in Oregon said the conviction must be reversed. On Wednesday, the appeals court weighed in on the felony arrest from 2018. It was a felony arrest. And the woman's name is Jennifer Gaiman. She's a 50-year-old woman living in Brookings when she encountered police while riding on her scooter. She suffers from a degenerative eye disease and pulmonary disease and relies on her scooter to get herself around. She was going home after spending time with her friends doing karaoke when two officers stopped her on the sidewalk. They told her she couldn't operate her scooter on the sidewalk, in a crosswalk, or without a helmet. So they said, hey, look, you're breaking a whole bunch of rules here. You got to stop. So they said she couldn't ride her scooter on the sidewalk, in a crosswalk, or without a helmet. So apparently they wanted her to push her scooter home or something. They cited her for operating the scooter in a crosswalk, unsafe operation of the scooter, and failure to wear protective headgear. But things escalated because they told her she couldn't ride the scooter to get home, and she lived about a mile away. So she left anyway. She got on her scooter and left. Now, the police then followed her, and the Court of Appeals describes this as a low-speed pursuit, where they were following her with their lights and sirens on, and she refused to pull over in her scooter. Once home, she was then arrested for fleeing or attempting to elude an officer. Now, again, they don't say what speed the scooter reached, but come on. So she was later convicted by a jury and sentenced to 5 days in jail. Remember, this is a felony. In an interview this week with the Oregonian, Gaiman said this whole incident upended her life. The notoriety of the case prompted her to leave Brookings. She said a felony conviction made it difficult to find housing. And she said, I don't know if I'm still a felon, adding she's not had a chance to talk over the ruling with her lawyer. Well, she's not. Her conviction's been overturned, but it's still a scary concept that she was. She said, I just don't want the police to do this to someone else's mom or dad or someone way more impaired than I am. So she's also filed a lawsuit against the Brookings police, alleging the officers unlawfully stopped her and violated the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act when they cited her and then chased her as she rode home. The appeals court concluded that Gaiman's mobility device did not legally constitute a motor vehicle. And this is a situation where it has to be a motor vehicle for it to count as the crime of eluding police. So apparently, if you're running from the police, it's one thing. But if you're trying to elude them in a motor vehicle, it's another. And they charged her with that. And the Court of Appeal says, no, mobility device is not eluding the police in a motor vehicle. So the court reversed the conviction. In its ruling, the court questioned the judgment of the Curry County Law Enforcement as well as the Department of Justice, which handled the appeal. The court wrote, the actions of the state in this case, from the police officer's decision to pursue defendant in a low-speed chase for the traffic violation of not wearing a helmet, to the prosecutor's decision to pursue a felony charge under those circumstances, to the Attorney General Office's decision to defend those decisions on appeal, should not be ignored. Gaiman, the court concluded, should not have been convicted of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer for using her mobility device to get home after a traffic stop. A spokesperson for the Department of Justice said Wednesday the agency is reviewing the ruling and has not decided whether to appeal. And I've talked before about juries and what juries do and how juries operate, and I've conducted jury trials. And I can tell you right now that one of the interesting things about the story is she was convicted by a jury. And a jury actually said, yeah, we find her guilty, and then she got sentenced. And for a jury to convict her means that, unanimously they agreed that she'd broken the law and that she'd done this. But you understand that the jury's being told by the judge and by the prosecutor that what she did, if true, was illegal. And the Court of Appeals is pointing out that, no, they should have known better. They should have known better that this is not illegal. So it's a crazy story. I don't blame the jury. They get jury instructions that say, if you find this, then you must find this. If you find this, this, and this, the person is guilty. So the bigger problem here goes all the way back to, let's suppose you're a police officer. You're out in your vehicle one day and you see something that strikes you as being unsafe for whatever reason. You see this woman on her scooter on the sidewalk, not wearing a helmet, and for some odd reason, you're a police officer. It strikes you that there's something dangerous or unsafe about this, either to her or the people around her, right? There's something here. So you walk up to her and you say, excuse me, but it's illegal to do this, this, and this. And you think you actually think it is. You actually think it is. You're mistaken on the law, apparently, but you think it's illegal. And she says, well, it doesn't seem right. I've been doing this for a long time, and I never heard this before. I don't think it is. So you write her a bunch of tickets and go, now you got to walk home. You live a mile away. She says, I don't think so. She gets on her scooter and starts scooting home. I'm assuming that's the correct verb when you're using a scooter. And now, if you're a police officer, you might be offended by that action. And we've all heard of stories where something escalated because a law enforcement officer got offended by someone's behavior at the roadside. But this traffic stop is over. They said walk home. Now, it's true that she got on her scooter and began scooting home. So the traffic stop is over, but they see her openly defying what they just told her. So they get behind her, turn on their lights and their sirens, and when she won't pull over, they follow her all the way home with the sirens and the lights going. And when they get there, they then write her up a ticket and arrest her for the felony of the eluding the police with a motor vehicle. And now, ask yourself, was that really necessary? Is that really the way you handle that? I don't know. It just seems to me that that is over the top, and that the average person, that would have occurred to them as being over the top. But the Court of Appeals now says, yes, officially that was over the top. I can tell you that in the state of Michigan, on the issue of laws, when the police officers don't know what the law is or how it will be interpreted, they can ask the Attorney General to tell them. And it's not uncommon that even the Michigan State Police will issue advisories and say, we've consulted and this is what we believe the law is, and this is how we're going to enforce the law. And here is a case where somebody should have asked. This woman is on a scooter and she has a disability. Does she need to wear a helmet to ride that scooter on the sidewalk? Does she need a helmet to ride? And is that a law? I mean, I live in a state where you can ride a motorcycle on the road with no helmet. So I understand this varies wildly from state to state. But somebody should have done some checking into this to find out, because to escalate it from you shouldn't be riding your scooter on the sidewalk to we're arresting you for a felony charge. There's a disconnect there somewhere, I think. So there you go. Josh sent it to me. Thanks a lot. Noel Crombie wrote for the Oregonian/Oregon Live. Appeals Court. Drop conviction of disabled Oregon woman chased by cops on her mobility scooter. Crazy story. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Nobody can predict the future. The idea is to have a firm grasp of the present.